2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast.
What is up, guys? Welcome into it. Hey, happy, what is today? Today's Wednesday. No, Thursday. That's right. I know, that's where we're at today, the pre-Friday celebration. It is a Thursday. We have plenty to talk about today. We have a double whammy on guests again today, which is exciting. Bottom of the hour, Jay Young, the founder and CEO of King Operating Corporation. We're going to talk about the relationship between the U.S. and Venezuela right now with Maduro, and what could that do to oil prices in the nation. So we'll get to that. Also, Congressman Derek Schmidt, District Number 2 from the state of Kansas. We'll chat with him coming up right out of the gate here on the program. Make sure to like it out, share it out, leave the comment, break the algorithm. Let's do this thing for a pre-Friday celebration. Hang tight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Why, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. Hey, it is your pre-Friday celebration. I was just doing the countdown before we came on the air here. I had to make double sure that it is actually Thursday because it has been such a whirlwind of a day. It's been absolutely nuts. So, yeah, I had to make sure my dates are straight. It is Thursday. It's your pre-Friday celebration. Welcome into it. It's also the Voice of Reason, broadcasting right here in the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station, KQAM. But we are all over the country. So many great radio affiliates and TV, live streaming, podcast, and doing our thing.
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on the program. By the way, I do not promote this enough, but if you would like this program on the podcasting format, we upload all of our shows after the radio program onto a podcast, which you can just search at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. You can also go to our website, HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com, and find a link to our social media, our podcast, and so much more. So welcome into the program. Got a big one today as usual lined up. Jay Young will be on the show. He is the founder and CEO of the King Operating Corporation. We're going to talk about the relationship between the U.S. and Venezuela with the ongoing battle with Maduro and the kingpin of drug trafficking into the United States, the more military presence that we could potentially be seeing, and what is that doing not only for the relationship but also with oil and energy prices. Venezuela, if you're not aware, has some of the biggest oil reserves in the world, and would that be affecting oil prices and gas prices here in the nation? So we'll get to that in just a little bit. Also, in just a couple of minutes, an inaugural appearance here on this program. We've chatted with him many times before on our local show, but here on the program, now that we're growing nationwide, even for our weekday show, Congressman Derek Schmidt here from the state of Kansas, District Number 2. Now, I know what you're going to say. Andy, you had a congressman from Kansas yesterday. I know, and we will have more congressmen from all different areas that we're broadcasting in right now, but kind of an inaugural welcome here on this show because he was the former Attorney General for the state of Kansas, so we've only really ever talked to him about Kansas issues, but now he's a congressman and he's in D.C. We're going to talk to him about reopening the government, some of the conversations going on there and more, and we'll do that here in just a moment. However, big news that could happen tomorrow. All eyes are on Washington, D.C.
What's trending today?
The man himself, Mr. Zohran Mamdani, making his way to Washington, D.C. tomorrow after running a campaign saying that he would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare, has now made the statement that as of tomorrow, he is headed to D.C. to meet face-to-face with Trump and work on issues for New York City.
I will be heading to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet with President Trump in the White House. It is customary for an incoming mayor of this city to meet with the White House, given the mutual reliance. It's more critical than ever, given the national crisis of affordability, one that New Yorkers know very well across these 5 boroughs, and the specific challenge many cities are facing with balancing public safety against steps taken by this administration. I know that for tens of thousands of New Yorkers, this meeting is between 2 very different candidates who they voted for the same reason. They wanted a leader who would take on the cost of living crisis that makes it impossible for working people to afford living in this city.
That's kind of weird. Does that sound to you like he's starting to realize the limitations of what he's able to do? That does not sound like the radicalized national democratic socialist of him wanting to give free this and free that, realizing that agenda's not going to work. He's not going to be able to do a lot of what he wants to do. And now after being the thorn in the side of President Trump, and I bet you having behind the scenes the threat of having federal aid pulled from New York City and realizing what that could do to the city, complete change of tone for that guy. That's kind of interesting. So now meeting with President Trump and then trying to extend an olive branch almost to Trump voters that, you know, 2 polarizing, completely different voter bases voting for essentially the same thing, wanting to solve this issue. And if we can do it together, then we're going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and work together on this manner. That's kind of interesting, right? No, oh, come on. He's supposed to be the savior of New York City, right? Yeah, we'll see how that one works. All right, let's get to it.
What's trending today?
I don't want to waste any time here, but as we said, Congressman Derek Schmidt from the 2nd Congressional District of the state of Kansas, a freshman congressman here from Kansas and Washington, D.C., former Attorney General, sat down with us earlier just a little while ago to talk about some of the issues in D.C., and this is what he had to say. Congressman, how are you, my friend?
Andy, I'm doing great. It's good to be back with you.
Yeah, it is great to chat with you for sure. I got to ask, how's it feel in Washington, D.C., now that you've ended the longest government shutdown in history and we can actually get back to work? How's it feel up there in D.C. now?
Well, it's good to have the machine back, chugging along again. I mean, this was the most unnecessary and unhelpful shutdown of the federal government that I have ever seen. I mean, this was one of those things where we couldn't get Senator Hooser and his Senate Democrats take yes for an answer.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think it was 8 Democrats wound up voting with the majority to do what Republicans had voted 15 times to do, which was reopen the government to give us some breathing room to go out and keep negotiating out all the spending agreements for the rest of the year. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Those 8 senators and others were willing to vote to reopen from the beginning. They knew this was a pointless exercise, but they weren't willing to buck their leader until 43 days into it. So I'm glad it's behind us. Hated that a lot of people's lives were disrupted, but here we are. We're back on track and moving forward.
Well, and lives were disrupted for no reason. I mean, they ended this government shutdown without getting anything that they wanted, which I found we've talked about on the program already before as well. But the idea of we're going to stand on a policy issue of universal health care during a government shutdown, and we want everything right now, or we're going to keep the government shut down. And they walked away with nothing. I mean, that's got to sting a little bit.
Well, I would think so. And there's an old expression, some people in politics use the issue is never the issue, and I think that was the case here. I mean, there was a lot of talk about extending the ACA credits, but there was also, a different set of demands that the same group of Schumer-led folks in the Senate were making in the alternative bill they put forward. It wasn't just ACA credits. It was a $1.5 trillion spending blowout wish list that they knew was never going to be adopted. I mean, my goodness, it would have undone all of the spending savings that we adopted in the summer and then spent more money. They knew that was never going to happen.
No.
And then they had other demands in private discussions. And so I don't think the issue was the issue. I think the issue was that Senator Schumer and maybe some others made the political calculation that impeding progress in Washington, stopping progress on things getting done that we had promised we were going to deliver when the voters gave us a majority, that needed to happen for their political reasons. And that happened for 43 days, and then finally 8 folks said, enough, let's get back and actually do what people sent us here for.
Yeah, it's a great point. Now we have the government opened up until the end of January, still working on the appropriations process. Are you optimistic we're going to get the appropriations done by then, or are we going to have to do another CR? Is there another concern about a government shutdown? What's that look like moving forward?
Well, there are supposed to be 12 individual appropriation bills done every year. That's the way the system is set up in order to fund government operations, 12 a year. That hasn't happened for something like 25, maybe almost 30 years. And so, and in recent years, Congress has in some years passed zero, not one of the 12 individual bills. Instead, they've done these enormous end-of-year omnibus bills that puts everything in the kitchen sink in, and where only a few people are actually in the room when it's written, and it's take it or leave it. It's a terrible, terrible way to run the government of a great country. So, I would love to tell you we're going to get all 12 of those annual appropriation bills done this year. Truthfully, I think that's unlikely, but we are going to get more of them done this year than have been done in many, many years. We already have 3 finished. 3 out of the 12 are done. We got those done in the bill that ended the shutdown. I think we're on track to get another, I hope, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 other bills done. That may be a little optimistic, but we've already passed, for example, the Defense Department Appropriations bill in the House, and it came out of the Senate committee with broad bipartisan support. Now, it failed on the floor, but that was during the shutdown, and it got caught up in the dynamics of the shutdown. I don't think it was a problem with the merits. So, bottom line is, between now and the end of January, we are going to enact, I believe, several more of those individual appropriation bills the way it's supposed to work. Probably won't get all of the remaining 9 done, 9 out of the 12. We have 3 done already. And so whatever is left incomplete then by the middle or end of January, we'll be looking at some type of extender or continuing something. But let's focus first on getting done what we can get done between now and then.
Yeah, that would be good news. I mean, we are slowly, frustratingly, but slowly moving in the right direction here and actually working on getting back to normal with the appropriations process, which we have not done in a very long time. And what's frustrating about this entire shutdown is that we were on track to do it in almost record time, because normally we do the CR until the end of December, then we do another one until March, then we do one just to keep it open until the end of the fiscal year. So a 7-week extension we originally had planned, that was record trending of what we were doing. So hopefully we can get that momentum back.
100% agreed. Again, back to the earlier point, I suspect that's a reason that Senator Schumer and others decided to lock the place down, because they saw we were on track to do what we said we were going to do, which is deal with these spending issues one at a time with individual votes where, everybody gets their input and then the chips fall wherever the chips fall, as opposed to the way it's been done in years past, where you get down to the end, you have these enormous bills and, half a dozen people write them. Which is just an unacceptable way to do business. And so, I hope we're getting back on track. And by the way, Andy, sometimes you just described it in good detail, but sometimes we use the shorthand around here, a regular order. We want to get back to regular order. And it makes people's eyes glaze over because that's such inside baseball process. Here's what this really means. The way we ought to set spending priorities for our great country is out in the open, with every elected member of Congress representing the people in our districts or our states, our constituencies, saying, this is important to us, that is less important. This is important, that is less important. Don't do that, please do that. You debate it out, you cast your votes, and then you go from there. And that process, that regular order, being open and with lots of input, it produces better results, including spending restraint, at least when Republicans are driving the train. And that's so important. It's the tool, the mechanism to get to the outcome that we've all talked about, which is priorities that are important to the folks we represent, and starting to bend that spending curve back in the right direction.
That's right. That's really exciting. We're talking with Congressman Derek Schmidt, the 2nd Congressional District here in the state of Kansas. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this question, but I know this week we did see the vote on the release of the Epstein files, President Donald Trump signing that bill as well, almost unanimous support in both chambers. Is this a step forward in more transparency coming from the federal government as opposed to these law enforcement or judicial agencies that are just holding on to information and not giving any information to the public? Are we starting to move in the right direction here, do you think?
Well, I think so. I mean, I've been saying since last summer that we ought to just release them. This is one of those cases where, clearly the broad public interest was going to prevail and should have prevailed. And I thought we should have released them months ago and gotten this issue behind us, but I'm glad it's done now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what we need to do. Let's talk some policy for just a moment as we go through the appropriations process, budgetary process, and more. Some other news from the Trump administration this week. regarding the reappropriating of duties of the Department of Education to other agencies, which makes sense. The whole idea has been eventually to shut down the Federal Department of Education. That's going to take a full-on act of Congress to make that happen, although Trump can kind of reappropriate the money and the employees to other directions. Is that a possibility? As you guys are working on the appropriations now, is that in the realm of conversation to finally just officially close doors of the Department of Education?
Well, I mean, certainly, that's part of the debate. It's been part of the debate for many, many years, and it's been a priority for the Trump administration. I think it's a good thing that they're looking at ways that some of the functions, the important functions of the department, can be handled maybe better in other agencies, and they've started to do some of that. And so, we'll take it a step at a time and see where it leads. Probably you don't get 60 votes in the Senate for just, sort of eliminating the department. But I do think that if we can show that it makes good sense, better service, some cost savings, less bureaucracy, to have some of these functions dealt with elsewhere, I think that's a great showing. Everybody ought to be supportive of that. That
is Congressman Derek Schmidt from the 2nd District of the state of Kansas. We got some rock stars here in my hometown state. Pretty proud of that, although I may be a homeboy, so, support the home team. But some great elected officials here. We'll continue some of those conversations later on. Lots more to get to here for a Thursday on The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of The Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever. Every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Trump is the worst president of the United States for America's children.
So angry.
The worst president American children have ever had in terms of their health, their education, the clean, safe environment in which they can thrive, including safety from gun violence, I would add.
Yeah, by the way, so Nancy Pelosi making her statement, the mic was a little weird on that one. She was sitting there banging the table, very angry during her press conference, and the fact that the announcement of the Trump administration wanting to remove the Department of Education and disperse the duties from the Department of Education to other agencies, which would make complete sense. We talked about that on the program the last couple days, is we don't need all this money going towards them if we have the Commerce Department or the Treasury Department. We have the USDA. We have many other ways for us to actually disperse a lot of this cash and resources to education systems, and then let states, I know, crazy concept, let states make their own decision on education that could possibly raise quality.
Say what?
I know, pretty wild, but Democrats obviously don't like that. Why? Because we are watching before our eyes the social experiment of the Democrat progressive agenda from the past couple decades, almost century, just completely go up in smoke. Poof, gone, failing miserably. We've just accepted it as the status quo. We've complained about it in the streets and in the shadows, and we've talked about it before. But for the first time, we're finally starting to see something done about it. The crime rates that we've just generally accepted. We better get home before it gets dark in the big city because we could get mugged. We don't want that to happen. We don't have to live like that. We're starting to realize. Education, well, the graduation rates are going down and test scores are going down. And now if you go into higher education, you have to spend the first 2 to 3 years based on remedial math and remedial writing and remedial sciences again before you actually get to your agenda. We don't have to live like that. And we're starting to change it. Nancy Pelosi not very happy about that because her entire legacy of 40, 50, whatever years in office is now starting to go up in smoke, and everything that they've tried to create, everything they've tried to do is now just being destroyed before their eyes, and they are livid about that fact. Linda McMahon, by the way, the Secretary for the Department of Education, speaking at a press conference today with Caroline Levitt, and said this.
Cutting federal bureaucracy is never a popular move among D.C. insiders. A chorus of anti-Trump voices have come out of the woodwork to complain that we are defunding education, harming students, or acting without a plan. This could not be further from the truth. The majority of Americans across the country handed President Trump the popular vote precisely because they have seen the brokenness of a top-down education system run by the federal government. They're painfully aware that only 3 out of 10 students can read proficiently at their grade level. They know that college students are collectively $1.7 trillion in debt, and less than half of college graduates get a job that actually uses the degree which they studied so hard to get.
That's absolutely insane. Look, we're living in the time now to where we have bureaucrats and politicians that have created this alternate reality for us to just generally accept whatever reality they've told us. The economy's doing good or the economy's doing bad. That education's doing wonderful. We just need more money. If we threw more money at the system, that it would all of a sudden work. If we just go further down the road of bureaucracy, if we just go further down the road of bigger government, if we just go further down the road of more government regulation and oversight, then all of a sudden we'll fix the problem and everything will be better. When we're starting to realize that hasn't worked, it's not working, and in fact, that's probably been the majority of the problem in the first place. So what do we do about it? We're going to change it, and that's why Democrats do not have a platform. I'm very optimistic about the midterms next year. because they don't have a platform to run on, except for we want to keep doing the way the system's been going for a long time. Even George Bush now has made the comment that they want a Republican overhaul to get rid of the MAGA movement, to cast Donald Trump and his movement aside, and get back to the establishment Republican side. I don't think Republicans want that. I don't think Republicans are looking for that idea. They want something different. They want to overturn the tables and start afresh. This is the way to do it. And we're realizing you can tell us that we need more money or education's doing great, but my kid's not learning as much. Their test scores suck. We don't qualify for a lot more, and our graduation rates in college are terrible. And when you do graduate, I'm still flipping burgers at McDonald's. Come on, man, we got to do something different.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. The Hoosier Media Network continues to grow every single day with new shows, new content, and new information as we continue to fight the narrative against the mainstream and give you the alternative view of the world. The Hoosier Media Network is home to great TV, radio, and podcasting programs on any topic of any interest, from politics and current events to religion and spirituality, holistic and alternative health, entertainment, motivational speakers, and so much more. And with the Hoosier Media Network, you can enjoy great podcast programs like Safe Space with Cheyenne.
So, Hans, how did you come up with doing the illustrations with all of the spiritual talks?
Well, Cheyenne, I've been studying spiritual path ever. I was a young person. I didn't believe what the churches were teaching us, and it was only later when I came across a material like Edgar Cayce when I realized that Christ actually was teaching reincarnation. And that is a very important element. Suddenly, the moment I understood this is a part of the true Christian teachings, suddenly everything makes sense. Why are people sick? Why are people happy? Why are poor? Etc. Suddenly, it makes sense. It's all related to previous lifetimes and our actions is sowing and reaping principle. So this made a lot of sense to me, and I followed it more and more through. And over the years, I've studied many wonderful teachers. And just only 10 years ago, I started to put this into short videos, which I illustrate, because I am an illustrator and writer of children's books mostly, also for all other ages. So I use my gift as an illustrator to show it and how the dots always connect. For me, it helps a lot. If I get some IKEA furniture to put together and have to read how to put it together, I wouldn't understand it. But if they make drawings that this part belongs to this part and this part, then I can do it and then I understand it. And I think other people are very similar, that once you see how everything connects, how karma works, how reincarnation works, and when you visually see it, then suddenly it becomes so much clearer. We can talk about reincarnation, we can talk karma and suicide and so on, but visually seeing how it all works out and how it all connects is a very different story. And they have become very popular over the years. As I said, these videos are totally free. This is not my main line. My main line is still writing and illustrating my books. Mm-hmm. I do this to share this with other people because I remember how when I was young and I was desperately looking for some information on these topics, and there was hardly anything available at that time. Now today we have YouTube. When I started off, of course, today I would take TikTok, but it's difficult to squeeze it into 1 minute, what I have to share usually over 5 to 10 minutes. And so I did this video to reach mostly young people because the attention span is only a few minutes anyway, so I had to make it very short. And I follow Einstein's famous quote that if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you haven't understood it yourself. So I really have to make it very clear to myself that I understand it. And I'm learning through doing this, doing my series. I'm learning, I understand, suddenly this all makes sense. And that's basically what I do, and I share this for free. You have to join nothing. They're available. I merely offer this. I have zero interest to convince anybody that what I share is right for them or for anybody. I'm only sharing it, and I leave it up to you. So I fully respect other people's beliefs that they don't share mine. And I have, as I said, no need. If you don't like it, that's fine with me too. So that's where I come from. And that is the basic story of my videos on lifeexplained.com.
Well, you are doing what you should be doing, because those videos found me and a few of my friends, and it's definitely what I needed to be educated on and the way I needed to be educated. So I appreciate you breaking it down. I know there's the Greg Bradens of the world, right, that are going to teach us about human chromosome 2 and the gamma state and compassion and heart and brain coherence and all of that fun stuff. But I really, really enjoy having it broken down into a very, very, I always say, let me go back to kindergarten. I'm like, let's go back to Sesame Street. Like, take me back there and build me up there. So that was one of my favorite things about finding your videos. So today I did bring you on to talk about the heavy-hitting topic of suicide. And I reached out to you specifically because, of course, I watched your 8-minute video of how you explain it. And I want you to release the suffering of anybody that could potentially come across our episode today.
Listen to all these programs and so much more as we try to bring back knowledge, wisdom, and truth back into the world. And we do that right here with the Hooser Media Network, the future of media.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, welcome back into the program. Great to have you today for a pre-Friday celebration. Always a pleasure to have you along for the ride. By the way, we just got a link to our chat on Newsmax TV from yesterday. If we can, we'll try and find a way to get that uploaded to our social media if you missed that one. But that was a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll be able to get back on to that. I was just checking that out actually during the break. So welcome back into it. Want to tell about my friends over at J&S at Smoked Snacks. We are now just, a week away until Thanksgiving. We are now as well going into holiday mode, which means you are expanding your belly and you want some more snacks for you. But you want healthy snacks. We're not about the garbage of the preservatives and the chemicals and everything else. We don't want any of that. No. We want some more healthy snacks. Now, that's why you go to J&S at Smoked Snacks. And for my listeners alone, you can find any 4 bags of their beef jerky, which is amazing, by the way. It's not your average gas station beef jerky. It is real cuts of meat, it's real seasoning, and it's really, really good, made in small batches. I've seen them make it, and they're great friends of ours here on the program. And you can find any 4 bags of any flavor that you want, from their traditional and their teriyaki, or their spicy, or their ghost pepper, their brand new one, or their mango habanero, whatever you want. You can get 4 bags of it by using our promo code REASON, REASON, and you can get 4 bags of it for $47.45. It is jssmokesnacks.com, and use the promo code REASON. All right, let's get into some of the big trending stories of the day. What do you say?
What's trending today?
All right, there we are. Really excited to have on our program as we talk about going into the holiday season. By the way, we have oil prices down relatively low, as actually during the press conference today, Caroline Leavitt made a statement that gas prices are down pretty predominant compared to recently.
President Trump's policies are working to make Americans' Thanksgiving more affordable this year, from their commute to the dinner table. Nearly 100 million Americans are expected to drive next week to spend time with loved ones for the holiday. And thanks to President Trump's Drill Baby Drill agenda, the national average price of a gallon of gas on Thanksgiving Day is projected to be at the cheapest price since the COVID pandemic in 2021. President Trump is bringing down gas prices and providing significant savings to American families at the pump. And again, we expect those prices to continue to decline.
Boom. All right, Caroline Leavitt says it. Is that really happening? Is it really true, with ongoing global conversations and the conversation we're having down in Venezuela, the battle with Maduro, the drug trafficking coming up, and the military conflict that we're starting to see in that region? To talk about some of that and a heck of a lot more, happy to have on the program. He is the founder, CEO of the King Operating Corporation, the man himself, Mr. Jay Young. Jay, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Hey, I'm good, Andy. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thank you so much for coming on here. She just mentioned the gas prices are down, that we're starting to see gas prices get back to normal. We're seeing prices really about where they were towards the end of the first Trump administration. Do you think that's going to stick? Are we going to see these low prices for a while?
Yeah. I don't know for a while or what a while means because we're going to see it for the next 3 to 6 months. I don't see it happening for a long time. Matter of fact, we're not drilling as much in the United States right now as you would think. You would think, okay, yeah, hey, it's great because we're drilling for oil and gas, and Trump has lowered the price, and he's doing all these oil and gas companies, a good deal because all the prices are. No, we don't like prices lower. I mean, that's not what our game plan is. Now, what we do like to do is we like to drill at these lower prices, like my book explains. I talk about that because people need to start drilling now because prices are going to go up in the future. And I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, go fill up your lawnmowers right now. Go fill up everything that you have right now because prices are going to go up in the future. It's going to be 3 to 6 months. I mean, 2026, we have been drilling for a lot less oil in the United States.
Yeah.
The reason why oil and gas prices go up and down is supply and demand.
That's right.
Okay? That makes sense?
Yep.
It's just a supply and demand. And if we don't have the oil here in the United States, it's going to go up. So what's going on now is OPEC is putting on oil on our markets over here, and they're saying, hey, you guys are producing 13 million a day. You need 20. And we're going to start putting a lot more oil on the markets because we want prices to go down because we want to capture some more of the market. So when prices go down far enough, they're going to say, okay, now let's take it back and not put as much oil on the market, and then prices are going to start going up.
Right.
Because we don't have as much.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, 44% less rigs are drilling for oil in the Permian Basin, which is the number. If the Permian Basin was its own country, and some people, especially people from Texas, like I did, say that Texas is a country, but we're not. But we are drilling and producing, more oil there than almost anywhere in the world right now.
Right.
And we're not drilling as much there because prices are down, wells decline in production. We're going to need oil next year, and when we need it, we're not going to have it because we haven't been drilling for it, and wells decline. So we're going to need oil, and we're not going to have it. Prices are going to go up.
Yeah. So
the way life is. That's the way that it's cyclical. I'm fourth generation.
Right.
And it's just cyclical.
Yeah. I mean, it ebbs and flows, like you said, with that supply and demand for sure. At the same time, we had the depletion of our oil reserves under the Biden administration. They didn't want to drill for more. They just depleted our entire reserves. So now we have an empty reserve. We have a higher demand from OPEC that wants to buy more from us. We're going to start consuming more. Mm-hmm. And while we are starting to slowly drill a little bit more, like you said, it's not really going to come to fruition yet. And with the low prices, it's not really worth drilling right now. So we're going to see a low mark here relatively soon. So we're, like you said, I mean, the prices are going to go back up. That question looks like then is when that's actually going to happen.
Yeah. And everything's cyclical like it always has been. And oil is always average. If you look at the last 5 years, 10, 15, 20 years, the average is around $75 a barrel. So it's like it's going to go up, it's going to go down. It's going to do that. But overall, take advantage of it while it's down here. And matter of fact, we are. I mean, we've got some really great contracts that we're putting on some wells that we're drilling right now. In Texas that we're drilling, and we're going to look at some Oklahoma stuff. Maybe some Kansas stuff that we've owned some properties there before, but are very attractive at these prices because it doesn't cost as much money to drill them. So we'll be buy low, sell high. That's what everybody always says, right?
That's right.
That's how Daddy taught you. Buy low, sell high, and that's what we're going to try to do here.
Exactly.
Because we're going to go into some of these areas and drill while prices are cheaper. So when we start producing them and when all the barrels are being produced, it's like, oh, okay, now we can produce these at the higher dollar value. So
that's right.
I'm just very optimistic. I love our business, and our model, and like I said, I wrote it in the book about geopolitics. When's a good time to invest in oil and gas, and I'd love to send you, and I need to send you a copy of my book.
Yeah.
Can I just send it to the radio station? Would that be okay if I just send it there?
I'd love that. Yeah, you can send me a copy, and we'll get you that info here once we get off the air. I love that. We're talking with Jay Young, founder and CEO of the King Operating Corporation, and author of the book, The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing, which you can find on Amazon and other places. And make sure to get that book to see what's all these different factors, because there's so many different factors with something like this on the market on what drives these prices. So, Jay, let's expand it out a little bit further. And let's talk about Venezuela, and let's talk about Russia for just a moment. Trump has pivoted himself to be almost the oil replacement for Russia with this ongoing conflict with Russia and Ukraine, to where they're buying ours and not Russian oil that's keeping their economy afloat right now. But then with the Venezuela issue, how much are both of these different parts of the world impacting the oil prices globally right now, do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's so much oil going on the markets, and there's so much that is happening, the geopolitical risk, and it changes every day almost. You have to imagine with that many barrels. Because just think about it for a second. I mean, in the United States, we have a lot of private oil and gas companies, and investors can make money. The $3 billion a day that Billy Bob talks about on Landman, that's pretty much in the United States. But these countries, like Venezuela producing 1 million barrels of oil a day, doesn't hold a finger to the United States.
Right.
But they have a lot more oil than we do, so they could open up, and they could really do well if they just opened up and produced more oil. And for some reason, they're not willing to do that. And they've got a lot of reserves, supposedly. I haven't seen the reports by reputable firms, reserve report firms, but they've got all this oil, and they're just at I don't know why they're not opening up the spigots over there. They've got so much oil. They got like 10 or 15 times more oil than we do in the United States.
Wow.
Smaller country, but they're just not willing to open it up and go, hey, we want some, and maybe it's infrastructure, maybe it's having the money to go in there and develop it, and cause like countries, like Iran or Iraq or Russia. That's why Putin is so rich, because he owns all the oil. These countries own all this oil, and he controls it, so he gets a big part of it. You hear about all these Russian oligarchs, and spending, $100 million or $200 million on yachts in Cabo and stuff. That's what they do. They own all this oil, and it's a lot different because they control the government. The government's the one that has the money that spends the money on infrastructure, that makes the money,
That's right.
And all the money comes into there. Then they decide how much money to spend and give to the people in their countries, and that's why a lot of the countries are so poor, because they don't give them a chance to make any money. They don't make any money at all, and they control all the oil and gas, in which we don't do that, and we're thankful to be a United States citizen. I know that's probably a different program.
No.
Ask me on any time.
No, that's all right. That's a great point for it. Jay, I tell you what, hang on the line. We got to take a hard break here. It is Jay Young, founder and CEO of King Operating Corporation, author of the book, The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. When we come back, I want to talk about what the futures may look like here and the oil and natural gas industry. What's the future of it as a whole when we come back on The Voice of Reason? Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, D.C.'s broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you. Radio.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
We know right now is a really tough time, and the last thing you want to do is costly repairs to your home. Hi, this is Tony Hobbier with Professional Home Buyers. What if I told you that you never had to do repairs to your home again? That's right. Let us do the work for you. Just call 685-SELL. That's 685-7355. Whether it's a total fixer-upper or in perfect condition, we will buy your home as is and get you cash in as little as 7 days, all with no fees, no commissions, and no hassle. Professional Home Buyers will buy any property in any condition. Vacant houses, inherited houses, foreclosures, even homes in good condition that you just need out of. Call 685-SELL. That's 685-7355. Best of all, there are no banks, no realtors, and no showings to picky buyers. Just cash in your pocket quickly and when you need it. Professional Home Buyers, the easiest way to sell your home. Call us now at 685-SELL. That's 685-7355.
Professional Home Buyers, calling us pays to get your cash in days.
Fall into savings at Midwest Kia, where the deals are stacking up like autumn leaves. Right now, get 0% APR on select new 2025 Kia models, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash with Kia Motors Finance. Rake in even more savings with exclusive dealer discounts from Midwest Kia, with up to 4% off MSRP. And yes, that can be combined with the national incentives. With qualified trade, get up to $1,000 additional dealer discount off MSRP. That's 0% financing, bonus cash, dealer discounts, and a $1,000 trade-in bonus. All on top of Kia's legendary value and 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. But hurry, these deals end November 30th. Visit MidwestKia.com or stop by today for a better way to buy.
We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
Example stock number K13443, 2025 Sorrento, MSRP $41.85. 4% dealer discount of $1,607. 0% APR up to 48 months plus $1,000 bonus cash with approved credit through Kia Motors Finance. $21 per month per $1,000 financed. Trade Assist is a dealer discount available with qualifying trade in 2018 or newer under 100,000 miles. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty.
Fox Kansas News at 9. Join the award-winning Fox Kansas News team. The first on the air with world, state, and local news from the Wichita area you can trust. Get the first forecast of the night with accurate information to help you prepare for the day tomorrow. And stay up to date with the first sports scores from throughout the day for your favorite teams. Get all the news you need in a concise half hour at a convenient time. Fox Kansas News at 9. Your news, your time. Channel 24, Cox Cable Channel 4.
Talk radio for the next generation.
Hey, coming up for your Voice of Reason this weekend, the Epstein file bill has been passed by Congress. What new information could we find out? Plus, Congress looks to debate health care reform in December. And what's the view of Republicans internationally? We'll talk with Josh Dambacher, spokesperson for Republicans overseas. And it's all coming up right here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, join me live Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Wichita's Big Talker, KQAM.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities.
Boom, there it is. Caroline Leavitt during her press conference today with President Trump set to meet Mr. Zohran Mamdani tomorrow at the White House, with him coming up, the mayor-elect for New York City, the communist, or the Democratic Socialist, meeting with President Donald Trump, trying to find ways to work together for the city of New York, pretty much realizing that, well, we're going to fight against Trump and do our own thing and convert it to an entire socialist society. Not really going to happen. That's not quite on the agenda. That's not on the slate, and he's starting to realize that. So, sorry, Mamdani. We'll keep you apprised of how that meeting turns out tomorrow. Right now, we're hanging out with Jay Young, founder and CEO of King Operating Corporation. You can also check out his website, The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. Jay, let's look further down the road for a moment. And as we look at the massive increase of demand of energy here relatively soon, the building of data centers, the building of artificial intelligence centers, the need for, we're already seeing just the way the industry is right now with just the infrastructure. When we started converting everything to electric vehicles and getting rid of gas stoves and going to electric stoves, and we converted all this stuff, we started seeing the brown and blackouts in California and in Texas and in certain areas because we've demonized oil and natural gas. We've demonized coal energy. We wanted to go all electric for everything, and it didn't quite work out. Are we in the position when we start needing a massive demand of energy for AI and data centers and all this new technology, are we in a position to sustain all of that with what we're doing right now?
Yeah, no. And the short answer to me is no. And we've got to make some huge changes. And I'm just hoping that a lot of the same things that they're thinking about the same thing, which I'm sure they are. I know they're not dummies, and they're spending billions, hundreds of billions of dollars with these data centers and putting in, like 600 different data centers in the next, 5 years or something like that. It's going to be enormous, and it's going to be a lot, and it's going to take a lot of electricity. It's going to take a lot of natural gas, which I'm very bullish on natural gas and natural gas prices, which is in one of our investment funds currently. But that's, we drill for oil and gas, and we drill for, and the gas part of that is needed very much so for AI and putting all these data centers together. The need for natural gas will go up tremendously, which is also good for Kansas because there's a lot of gas wells in Kansas for sure. So that'll be good. Yeah. Be good for the economy. Be good for all the things there. So, yeah. But yes, and to answer your question, it's going to be a need. There is going to be a need. There's going to be a lot. There's a lot more that's needed. Obviously, there's a lot more that's needed to get in, and we need more natural gas. Prices are going to go up, and we've got to take care of those grid systems. So, because if not, we're going to a real cold winter like we had in Texas not long ago. Well, yeah. I think it was 2021. We were knocked off. Our electricity was gone.
Yeah.
For days.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't do anything about it. If it's cold outside, which it was, it's really bad. So we've got to have, I would back up everything with generators. I would be very careful on that because you don't want to go into a situation where it can just blow everything out, and all of a sudden you're sitting there. It's 20 degrees or whatever it is in Kansas, which gets cold, and all of a sudden you run out of electricity.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start some of those fires. I'm going to have the Kindle in the backyard just in case something happens out there. And you know what? I'm all right with that, too. I always keep saying that with how crazy the world is, I think I'm just going to have to live off the grid anyways because of, just the world itself. So I am okay with that. Jay, we appreciate it, my friend. It is the Upside of Oil and Natural Gas Investing. You can check it out on Amazon. Other places also check out King Operating Corporation with what they're doing. I am excited about where we're going if we handle these issues the proper way, if we get prepared. Like you said, stock up on the gas now because prices could be coming up again soon, but it'll ebb and flow. We'll restock supplies, get things stable, and then we could see prices maybe come back down. Or as Donald Trump said before, we can find that happy medium. Everybody can make a little money producing it, and then it's going to be cost effective for us to actually utilize it as well. Jay, keep up the fight, my friend. We appreciate it very much. Got to get you back on here again real soon.
Hey, sounds great.
Hey,
be sure and send me your address.
You betcha. Hang on the line, and we'll get you that information. I'm looking forward to reading that one and looking at the Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. Find it on Amazon and other places. Back at it again tomorrow. What could that meeting look like between President Donald Trump in Zoran Mamdani. Also, we'll get you set for wrapping up a whole nother week and into the holiday week next one. Until then, it's The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Bye. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch The Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with The Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own voice of reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at